Welcome to another video, and today we're gonna have fun because we're gonna dive into really interesting topics right at the beginning. But first I have to have my morning breakfast, morning shake. I never pace myself with the shake. This one is amazing. Pretty much a year ago, to the date, or to the week I should say, I wanted to make a video about why I don't want to be a minimalist anymore. I wanted to talk about the toxic side of minimalism and how everything is bad. And I was just a little bit emotional. And that's why I made this long little script about toxic side of minimalism. So now I feel a year later, I can actually talk about the toxic side of minimalism and how I solved some of these issues that I had a year ago or even 5 years ago, because a year ago, I felt frustrated and I felt limited because there were some ideas about minimalism that I believed in. So when someone left me a comment, I was like, oh my God, they're right. I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. But for a long time now, I don't think like that anymore. And that's why I want to talk about the toxic side of minimalism in case you feel the same way. Pretty much I have 3 different big issues with minimalism. And the first, which it's a little bit controversial and I'm gonna say it anyway, but is that generalized idea that things will make you happy. If you followed minimalism for a while, you can know how many quotes there are out there talking about things will make you happy, period. And honestly, I don't agree with this at all. It's very generalized and it's not true. So how I made sense and peace with this is that you actually can have 2 problems in your life. You can have external material problems or you can have internal problems. And if you have a material problem, then yes, buying something can actually improve the quality of your life and can make you happier. If you don't have an AC and it's really hot every single summer and you're boiling, then buying an AC can actually make you happier because you're not gonna be just sweating and being so hot every single summer. But if you have an internal problem, let's say you don't feel worthy enough, and then you buy yourself, let's say, a dress, that won't fix your issue. So for me, it's not that things cannot make you happy, but it's more about being aware why you're buying certain items and which problem are you solving. Even I, for example, I bought a winter jacket, which if you watch this channel for a while, you know exactly which one because I cannot stop talking about it. In the winter, I was usually very, very cold outside, but ever since I bought this jacket, I'm so warm that my quality of life improved because of a material item. And I can say the jacket made me happier. And also one thing that I think about a lot is that if you're arguing that things will make you happy, then how can you argue that decluttering things will make you happy? If the material things don't have any power over you, then it doesn't matter if you buy them, if you declutter them, then you're just immune to everything. But that's not the case. I believe things can make you happy. I also believe that decluttering things can make you happy if you have a material problem. So if you have a closet that it's really stuffed and overwhelming and you feel so exhausted every time you open it, then absolutely, when you declutter it, you're gonna feel so much happier. But if you don't have a material problem, but maybe you just feel maybe lost in life, maybe just a little bit depressed, situational depression, whatever, you're going through something, and then you go into your wardrobe and you start decluttering, guess what? You're not suddenly gonna feel happy because you're trying to solve your inner problem with decluttering. Buying stuff, decluttering stuff, it can be helpful, it can change your life, it can improve your life as long as you're solving a material external problem and not an internal one. And before I move on to the next point, I also want to mention that you don't have to have like a really big material problem in order to justify a purchase. If you know, okay, I'm gonna buy this handbag and I'm gonna really enjoy it and it's gonna go with 80% of my outfits and it's gonna be so fun in the summer, it's gonna be practical, it's gonna be pretty, and you know it's gonna change how you dress, for me, that's reason good enough. You don't have to have a huge problem in order for items to make you happy. Oh, and just one more thing about this point, because I just remembered, yes, last year I was doing some research because I thought, am I the only one who thinks this way? Am I insane or what's going on? Am I materialistic? What's going on? But I found that some researchers found out that there is a category called experiential things, which means once you buy an item, your lifestyle is gonna change just a little bit, and that will lead to happiness. In the article, they were talking about a guitar, for example. So when you buy a guitar, then you go to the lessons, then you can play with your friends, maybe you can sing with the guitar, whatever. But just one purchase can lead to so many more experiences, and that can actually improve your life. I would also say if you buy a dishwasher and you hate washing the dishes, your life is gonna be improved because all of a sudden you don't have to wash your dishes after every single meal and you can do something else instead. Or like I said, my winter jacket, because I have a warm winter jacket, I go on many more walks, and that changes my life. Editing came here because I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, so I just want to clarify that when I'm talking about material things making you happy, I don't necessarily mean that once you buy something you're going to be happy and that's it, but I'm talking more about improving the quality of your life, so you can be just 1 or 2 or 3% happier and that's it. And also it's important to know that I believe if you want to have the best life possible, you need to work on both material, external world, and then inner world. And when you do that, I think magic happens, because when you really identify what you want in life, you can create a material external world that supports what you need to really work on yourself and grow as a person. Maybe you can see I'm getting really passionate about this, but honestly, I don't hear anyone talking about this, and that's why I'm making this video. But the second point that I have is, again, I think it's controversial. I'm not sure if I'm insane, if I'm an alien, but the second issue that I have with minimalism is this guilt of wanting more. Because a lot of minimalists talk about how things will make you happy and you should be content with what you have. Again, just a quick addition here, I'm talking about both material and non-material ones here, because if you do minimalism for long enough, you can even start decluttering your goals, schedule, and internal ones. So I'm not just talking about material items here, but wanting more in general. And then you have this inner urge, I want this, I want this, I want this, and you start feeling guilty, like you're failing. I shouldn't want more, I should be okay with everything that I have. And you almost want to kind of repress all of your wants, and then you can come into this, I would say, a pathetic, depressed, kind of lost state where you don't allow yourself to go for more, but at the same time you cannot turn off that little voice that tells you go for more, go for more. So of course, not being happy with this, how I felt, I went online and I checked things and I researched and I read, and I came to the conclusion that wanting more is actually a part of the human nature. And that's the reason we evolved so much and we've come so far, because we have this internal wanting to improve, wanting to grow. So I personally don't feel guilty about wanting more anymore. But like I said in the first point, I'm always aware of what I'm trying to achieve. We have to differentiate. We have to differentiate between internal and external problems, and then find solutions that are appropriate. And I also want to say that ever since I stopped repressing this want, I become happier, I become more motivated, and I just feel I became a little bit more alive. And for me, wanting more, it's part of human nature, and it can be good if you're aware. And now I have to take a little break to recharge because, you know, this is so intense. I also want to say that if you have any thoughts of your own, any opinions, even if you disagree, do leave me a comment down below. I would really love to hear your thoughts. Just be respectful. Even if you disagree, that's fine. Just be respectful, because I think this is such an important topic to talk about. So yeah, do let me know what you think, and also give this video a thumbs up, of course. But now to the final point, and honestly, I'm not sure if this is just me and how my brain works, or if anyone else experienced this, but for me, I had a huge issue with this, and that is overthinking your purchases to a point where I was paralyzed in the store, unable to make a decision, which I know it sounds weird, but I'm gonna break everything down. And where I think lies the issue is that idea that if you declutter items that you acquired before you became a minimalist, you're amazing, you get a trophy, wow, well done, good job. But then you can also see the attitude that when you're decluttering something after you became a minimalist, there is almost this judgy, oh, you bought this and now you're decluttering it, you should have known better, you're wasting your money, you didn't think this through enough. All of those issues, you can get a sense that after you become a minimalist, and you buy something, you almost feel a failure if you have the need to declutter it again, especially if it's 6 months or a year or 2 years after the purchase. The shorter the amount, the more guilty you feel. And that's something that I got off the internet. That's the vibe that I got. So when I was in the store, I kept asking myself, okay, will I like this item for the next 10, 15, 20 years? And I'm like, how can I know? I was so paralyzed. I was like, I don't know. Maybe in 5 years' time, I'm not gonna like it anymore. Maybe my lifestyle is gonna change. Maybe I'm gonna change the country. Maybe I'm gonna change my job. Maybe this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. How can I possibly know if I'm gonna love this in 15 years' time? It's impossible, because you have this idea that when you're a minimalist, now you have to buy for forever. And if you don't, you're somehow a failure. Now, I have to emphasize that overthinking is not the same as analyzing. I'm a huge fan of analyzing. You know that I track my capsule wardrobe. I also analyze as I'm decluttering my closet or even other areas of my life. When we were doing jewelry with my mom, and she was putting everything in keep in the clutter category, and she said, oh, I have so much silver jewelry in here. And I said to her, yes, because you have a cool undertone. That's why this looks better on your skin tone. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And she learned something new, because when we were decluttering, she was actually analyzing what she was keeping and what she was decluttering, the colors, the cuts, all of that. So for me, analyzing is actually a very positive thing. So you don't constantly buy items that are the wrong fit for your lifestyle and then you have to declutter them. But at the same time, you cannot know everything. And that's why I think analyzing is good. But overthinking and that fear-based mentality, it's actually very, very negative. So for me, if I buy something and I change my mind in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, fine. I'm not gonna punish myself for that. I'm gonna learn why this didn't work for me, where did I go wrong, and I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna obsess and I'm not gonna guilt trip myself. And also what I wanna add here is that instead of the 10, 15, 20 years, or even will I love this forever question, now I ask myself first, is this item a 10 from a scale from 1 to 10? Is it a 10? Is it a hell yes? And then the second thing that I ask myself, do I think this is gonna be useful for me in the next 3 to 5 years? And if the answer is yes, I can see myself wearing, using, whatever, this item for next 3 to 5 years. That's fine. 3 to 5 years is kind of my new question and my sweet spot. And lastly, I just have 2 bonus points, just very quickly. So let's say it's kind of the 4th point, but I think it becomes a problem is when minimalism becomes source of identity. With some people, it just, I'm a minimalist, and it's almost like their whole identity, and they're super focused on that, and that's how they get their worthiness from, and it's really important. And for me, labels, I was never a huge fan of labels, but when you're doing things online, they're helpful. If you're looking for something, you're gonna look for vegan recipe, you're gonna look for minimalist collection, you're gonna look for luxury handbags. I personally think labels can be useful to search for something, but they're not useful when we become overly attached to them. And I think some people can overly identify with the word minimalist to a point where, you know, they have to do everything right, and that's their whole identity. So that's another issue. And then lastly, which I think a lot of people can agree on, that nobody can agree what minimalism exactly is. I mean, for me, how I see minimalism is if you keep what you love and what you use and declutter what you don't love and what you don't use, for me, you're a minimalist. It doesn't matter how many items you have. But some people don't think like that. I watched one video once, and there was, I don't know if it was a girl or a guy, it was a long time ago, but the comment underneath was, she was talking on the bed, and the comment underneath was, you're not a true minimalist, you own a bed. And I was like, what? What is this minimalism? So for me, I think there is kind of this gatekeeping of minimalism should be like this. Someone thinks it's like this, someone else thinks it's something different, and then people keep commenting, you're not a true minimalist, you're this, you're that. Even I got so many comments, you're not a minimalist, you have so many this items, so many this items. And I'm just honestly, yes, I am. I love them, I use them, I decluttered what I don't. I am a minimalist, and luckily that's not my whole identity. I just use the word, you know, for people to find me, and that's it. So that's my thoughts. And to conclude everything, I absolutely love minimalism. I still see myself as a minimalist, and I would recommend it to every single person, because in modern world I think we have just too much stuff. But like I said in all of my previous points, we have to be in tune with ourselves and ask ourselves, why are we doing this? Why are we decluttering? Why are we buying? What are we trying to solve? Which issue are we trying to solve? We have to become aware. I think mindfulness and awareness can be so incredible. So if you're just doing minimalism based on what other people said you should be doing, you can get in trouble, because that's what I did. But if you do minimalism with awareness, your life is going to be transformed. So that's kind of the point of this first section of the video. And now we can go into some lighter topics and I can show you my outfit of the day. As usual, I'm gonna start with my inner layer. But first, let's talk about these earrings that I took from my mom. She decluttered them and I said, give them to me. And I'm wearing them today for the first time. And honestly, I'm so happy with them. They're so nice, so classic. And they're also very light on the ear. They're not heavy at all, which is amazing. And I paired them with my gold necklace that just matches the color so nicely. And then I also have the silver and gold watch because I think it matches everything really well. And for the belt, of course, I'm wearing a gold buckle, so everything is mostly gold. As for the top, you can see that I'm wearing my silk button-up, but I also paired it with my black cami underneath, so I can have it just a little bit more casual, just a little bit more open. Plus the cami provides me with just a little bit of extra warmth. Then for my sunnies, you can see them on. These are my prescription glasses and I can show you how they look on. Now I see so much better. I see everything, but these are my prescription glasses that I love so much and I wear them whenever it's sunny. And lastly, I have my medium wash skinny jeans that are high-waisted, and of course white sneakers because I love wearing this so much. Now for my outerwear, as you can see, I'm wearing the black wool coat because it's very warm. And then I also have my new black sign bag because it's so practical. I cannot stop wearing it. It's really nice. Also, you can see how this looks with my white sneakers. Again, I love the combo black jeans and white. This is one of my favorite combinations in the spring. And I also wanted to show you when I'm heading outside, I usually button up my blouse to give me a little bit more protection from the wind and from the cold, because today is very windy. And I think this just looks a little bit more nicer. I think it looks nicer.